Hi. I wanted to make this video because I've been thinking. And this time I've been thinking about AI. And the reason I've been thinking about AI is because I watched a video recently and I was shocked to find out afterwards that the person speaking in the video was an AI generated person and not a real person. So the two things that shocked me most about that were firstly the number of views the video had, which was over 2 million and growing fast in only a few days, and also the types of comment that had been left on the video. They were personal and emotional comments showing support and care for the person in the video who wasn't a real person. So clearly the content was capturing the hearts of the viewers, and in the comments people were thanking the person for sharing their story, and they were being kind and supportive and sharing their own stories in return. So I only realised that the person was AI generated because I decided to read the description. And I'm really not sure I would have realised otherwise because it was quite convincing, especially if you're not even thinking about AI at the time. I think if I go back now and look at the video, it might seem a bit more obvious, but I still don't think anyone could be blamed for thinking that it was a real person, especially if maybe your eyesight isn't what it used to be. Maybe everyone else watching the video was aware that it was AI and I'm making something out of nothing. But my instinct is telling me that a lot of the viewers believed that they were watching a real person, not an AI. And that thought has been troubling me ever since. So I wanted to talk about it. So it's been troubling me because I think that there are already a lot of things in life that can trick us or leave us feeling that we should have known better or that we're not keeping up with technology. And I'm worried that a lot of people aren't aware that the technology is now advanced enough to create fairly realistic images of humans in videos, and that those people will potentially feel hurt or foolish when they realise. So I'd been thinking for a while about making a video about AI because I think it's an interesting and a relevant subject, but watching that video really pushed me to put it higher up on my list. And I'm not claiming to be an expert, but I have spent some time thinking about this and learning some of the details, and I want to use that to help other people raise their own awareness on the subject. So I did already know a certain amount about AI because it's been creeping into the workplace for a while now, but my experience has been more connected to asking AI questions and getting it to help me with generating ideas or writing emails. And I haven't really had any strong feelings about it so far. It's been useful for some things, like taking notes from a meeting or creating a few useful bullet points from a big document. But it's also been a bit frustrating that it can get things wrong or even make things up if it isn't sure of the answer. So that can mean that sometimes it's better not to use AI if I really want to be sure that my work is accurate and makes sense and won't embarrass me later. So the AI technology used to create a video is a bit different from the type that I've been using at work. So maybe let's start from the beginning and see if we understand what AI actually is. So AI stands for artificial intelligence, and it's actually been around for quite a long time, I think more than 50 years as a concept. It basically means when human intelligence can be copied by a machine or a computer system. So at its most basic, a human could provide the information to the machine and also the guidelines about what a human would do with that information in order to reach a decision, and the machine would be able to copy that. So, an early example of AI that you might have noticed in your own life is spam filters for your emails. So, those were introduced in the late 90s and they use AI based algorithms to automatically detect and filter out spam messages from our inboxes. So the filters analyse the email content, the sender information, and other patterns to identify spam without us having to do anything. So I never really thought about that as AI, but it actually is. And I think it's quite a good example because we can probably all agree that it's nice to have a bit of help with managing spam messages, but we can also all see that it doesn't always get it right, and that when it gets it wrong, we can end up with a different problem that we wouldn't otherwise have had if, say, an important message doesn't make it through to us. And I think maybe that sentiment still holds true as quite a good summary of AI, that it's nice to have a bit of help, but it doesn't always get it right. So things have developed quite a lot for AI since the introduction of email spam filters, and whether or not we realise it, it's all around us. So things like voice assistants, recommendations for viewing and listening preferences on all the various platforms, including this one, facial recognition on phones, chatbots for customer service, self-driving cars, if you've seen any of those, and even tools for medical diagnosis. They're all powered by AI. So part of the reason for the huge increase in AI use is because of how much information is now available to these machines via the internet, and also because of the massive increase in processing power of the machines being used. So we have more information and more power to process that information. So the basic definition of AI is computer systems designed to perform tasks that typically need human intelligence, like learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and decision making. And it does that by analysing data that has been made available to it, usually via the internet. And the AI uses that data and combines it with algorithms and models to be able to mimic human-like thinking and capabilities. So imagine if you had read all the information on the internet and could remember all of it, you'd be the equivalent of the AI. People could ask you questions and you'd be able to help them in a human way by having a conversation about all the things that you've read on the internet. So probably the AI a lot of people are aware of is ChatGPT. And if you haven't tried it yet, it's basically what I just described. It has access to vast amounts of information from the internet, and you can have a chat with it about what it knows. It's currently free for anyone to use, and by using it, we're really just testing it out for the developers and letting them know what users want from it. The more advanced versions aren't free, and maybe the basic version won't always be free, but for now it is. So where you might have once asked a search engine to look for information on the internet, and that would give you a selection of answers to choose from, the AI, like ChatGPT, would pull together the answers from all of those sources on the internet and come up with an answer for you. But then you can go back and ask more questions in a conversational style, as if you were talking directly to an expert. But you don't have to be polite to this expert if you don't want to be. You can tell it that you don't like the answer, or that you want it worded in a different way, or in a different style, or for a different target audience, and it will happily adapt the answer according to your preference. You can ask for more information, less information, whatever you prefer. And you can, and maybe you should, ask where it got the information from so that you can decide how reliable it might be. So I think it's fair to say that information from the internet isn't necessarily always reliable or accurate, but AI will deliver it to you as if it is. So that's definitely something to be aware of when you're using AI to find information. It's also good to be aware that AI can sometimes make things up if it doesn't know the answer. And when AI decides to make something up, that's called hallucinating. And it isn't uncommon, so it's worth being vigilant about that. You can always try to let it know that it made a mistake, but it might try to defend its answer, even if it's wrong. But personally, I think it's important to tell it when you think it made a mistake, in case it takes from that interaction that it was correct. And then, potentially, gradually, the information that we refer to on the internet could become more and more incorrect. Maybe we can stop that from happening. And I think it would be good to at least try. I like the internet and I don't want AI to ruin it. And I certainly don't mean to come across as if I'm against AI, because I do think that in many ways it's amazing technology, and we can all use it and enjoy it and have it make our lives a little bit easier. I think I'm just getting a bit concerned about some of the risks, like the possibility of it teaching itself things that are wrong or biased, and nobody maybe pointing out those errors. And I'm also concerned when I see it being used to replace real human interaction, and that's what I saw in that video. So the technology used to simulate a realistic human in a video is called Generative AI, or Gen AI, and it's a bit different from the AI that's being used for spam filters and search engines. So Gen AI is a type of AI that creates new and original content like text or images or videos or music or code by learning patterns from huge data sets and responding to user prompts, which essentially allows machines to generate rather than just analyse information. So GenAI has the capability to create realistic looking images, including images of people. And the GenAI models are trained on huge data sets of human images, videos, and 3D scans. And those data sets help the AI to learn the complex features and variations of human appearance and movement and expressions. And if you haven't heard of Tilly Norwood, I would really recommend looking her up, because I think it will help you to understand the power of this technology. You've probably already watched a lot of content with AI generated people because it's already used for advertising and entertainment. And it doesn't currently have to be disclosed, so you may not have even realised that's what you were watching. And I think it's hard to have an opinion about something if you aren't aware that that's what you're watching. So I think if you're aware that you're watching an AI generated person instead of a real actor, maybe you'd have an opinion about whether or not it was acceptable. But when you're not aware, everything can seem fine. And so I really just want people to be aware so that they can decide how they feel about it and make their own decisions based on what they decide. Which takes me back to the video I mentioned at the start. And it was hosted by a realistic looking AI generated person. And the whole idea was to tell an emotional story and to connect with people in a real and human way. But it wasn't a real person, it was a Gen AI person. And I just don't think people realised. And there isn't any legal requirement yet to state whether AI has been used for content creation, but hopefully that will change. And I think I would prefer to see a banner all the way through the video stating that the person speaking is an AI, so that the viewer can't be in any doubt. But I'm not sure how likely that is to happen. And, I think it might be easy to think that it's mostly older people who aren't keeping up with AI technology and are being misled. But the number of comments on that video from younger people showed me that actually nobody's immune from this. So I think it's one thing watching an advert that has AI generated people in it, but a heartfelt video that viewers are encouraged to interact with in the comments, it feels like something quite different, and I feel uncomfortable about the idea of people opening their hearts to someone and then finding out that it was an AI, and then not wanting to open their hearts to people in the future. And if I can do anything to try and stop that from happening, then I want to try. So what do I want people to take away from this video? Well, I think really I want people to be more aware of what AI is and what it can do. I want people to not be afraid to learn about it and to ask questions. That's how I learned about it, and I'm glad that I did. I want people to be aware that AI sometimes gets things wrong. I want people to be vigilant that AI can generate quite realistic images, voices, videos. So until there's a legal requirement to make that clear, I think it's a good idea to read the descriptions, look for clues, and ask questions if we can. I think the more knowledge that we have about AI, the better decisions we can make for ourselves. Maybe we can be happy that AI can take some of those boring jobs that we didn't enjoy anyway, like taking notes from a meeting or helping us decide what to watch next. And maybe we don't want to see an AI doctor, but perhaps, we can be pleased that our expert doctor has easy access to huge amounts of information and can overlay that information with their own expertise. Maybe we can enjoy GenAI content if we're clear that's what it is and we're not being misled. And, some AI images are funny or outrageous or entertaining, and maybe that's okay as long as we know that it isn't real. But personally, I don't want to watch a video hosted by an AI who is pretending to be human. So until those types of content are clearly labelled, I'll be using extra caution. I'll be looking for clues like shadows in the wrong places or areas that are blurry or a person with too many fingers or strangely shaped eyes or some unnatural movements. I'll also be looking at the background of the video to see if it looks real, because all of those things can give you a clue about whether you're watching a real person or an AI. So here's my fingers if you want to count them. But maybe I'm overthinking this and that other people enjoy Gen AI content and don't even mind whether it's real or not. But just in case that isn't what's happening, I hope that this video has helped to raise awareness of some of the potential problem areas to look out for. So maybe let me know in the comments if you've got any other tips for spotting AI content, or if you've got any examples to share, good or bad, that might help other people. But for now, I hope you've taken something useful from this video, but I think that's all for this time. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.